Imagine if I told you there is a quiet window of mercy every single morning, a gift many of us sleep through without realizing its worth. A time when the angels have just witnessed your sujood, when your dew is still rising, when Allah has already written Barakah into the hours ahead of you. And yet, after standing before our Lord at Fajr, we turn our backs and say, later, Ya Allah, I'm tired. My dear brothers and sisters, this is not just about sleep. This is about what happens to your heart, your rizq, your time, and your life when you choose presence over comfort. Today, I want to talk to you about a secret the righteous understood, a secret that transforms ordinary mornings into extraordinary lives, the barakah of the hours after Fajr, and why losing them costs us more than we think. Barakah is not random, it is not accidental, and it is not scattered without wisdom. Barakah is placed by Allah where He wants it to be placed, and one of the greatest misunderstandings of our time is thinking that success comes from stretching the night and stealing from the morning. We live in a culture that glorifies late nights, exhaustion, and pushing the body beyond what it was created for. Then we wonder why our days feel heavy, why our hearts feel dry, why our time slips through our fingers, with nothing lasting to show for it. Allah did not design the human soul to thrive in darkness while neglecting the light. The early hours were created with intention, infused with mercy, and protected by divine order long before productivity gurus discovered morning routines. When Allah swears by time in the Quran, when He highlights dawn, when He makes Fajr the dividing line between night and day, it is not symbolic poetry. It is instruction. The early hours are different because Allah made them different. The stillness of the morning is not empty silence, it is a space where the unseen is active. Angels are present. Dew is lighter on the tongue. The heart is less cluttered. The soul has not yet been bruised by the noise of the world. This is why Barakah settles there, not because we deserve it, but because Allah is generous. Late nights exhaust the body, but more dangerously, they numb the soul. When you train yourself to come alive after midnight and collapse after Fajr, you are reversing the natural rhythm Allah placed inside you. Over time, you stop feeling the sweetness of worship, not because you are a bad person, but because your heart is constantly tired. A tired heart struggles to focus, struggles to feel khushu, struggles to hear the subtle nudges of guidance. Barakah does not stay long in a heart that is always chasing stimulation and ignoring rest given in halal ways. The Prophet I did not build a nation that slept through mornings and rushed through days. He lived with intentionality. His nights were for rest and selective worship, and his mornings were for action, remembrance, and presence. He asked Allah to place Barakah in the early hours of this ummah, and that dew is still alive. Dew does not expire. But Barakah must be met halfway. You cannot ask Allah to bless your time while consistently choosing the hours He warned you not to neglect. Barakah is not multiplied effort, it is multiplied impact. And impact happens when divine alignment meets human discipline. Look at your life honestly. The days when you wake up early, even if you slept less, there is a strange expansion in time. You get more done, your mood is steadier, your patience is stronger, your decisions are clearer. And the days you wake up late, rushing, skipping, reacting instead of leading, the hours feel compressed, stressful, and unproductive even if you technically had more sleep. This is not coincidence. This is Barakah, and its absence making itself visible. The early hours are protected from distraction. The world is quieter. Notifications are fewer. Demands have not yet piled up. When you give those hours to Allah first, He gives the rest of the day back to you in ways you cannot calculate. When you give those hours to sleep, scrolling, or procrastination, the day takes its revenge. You spend the rest of your time catching up, apologizing, rescheduling, and wondering why you always feel behind. Barakah is not just about how much you do, it is about who you become. Waking early trains the nafs in humility. It reminds you that comfort is not your master, that discipline is an act of worship, that choosing Allah over the softness of the bed is a form of love. Every time you resist the urge to sleep after Fajr, you are telling your soul that obedience comes before ease, and that message reshapes your character slowly, quietly, deeply. Late nights often come with heedlessness. They are filled with entertainment, idle talk, endless scrolling, or overworking for dunya at the expense of the body and soul. None of these are haram by default, but excess drains life from the heart. The early hours, on the other hand, invite intentionality. You wake with purpose or you do not wake at all. There is clarity in that choice. Either you meet Allah in remembrance, or you consciously turn away. That awareness itself is purifying. Barakah in early hours also protects your mental health. Anxiety thrives in chaos and fatigue. Depression deepens when the body is disconnected from natural rhythms. Islam came to preserve the human being, not break them. Fajr anchors the day, and staying awake after it stabilizes the nervous system in ways modern science is only beginning to articulate. Light, movement, quiet focus, spiritual grounding. All of these are present in the early morning, and all of them are remedies Allah placed in creation long before we labeled them. The righteous before us understood this deeply. They guarded their mornings more fiercely than their wealth. They planned their nights around their mornings, not the other way around. They knew that staying up late for no necessity was stealing from tomorrow, and tomorrow is where accountability lives. They did not wait for motivation. They built habits, and habits carried them when emotions failed. When Barakah enters your morning, it spills into your relationships. You become less reactive. You listen better. You speak with more wisdom. You are not constantly overwhelmed. Your children feel your presence. Your spouse feels your patience. Your work benefits from your focus. Barakah is contagious. It does not stay limited to prayer mats and Quran pages. It shows up in tone, timing, and trust. Sleeping after Fajr, especially as a habit, slowly trains the soul to delay obedience. You tell yourself you will wake later, work later, repent later, start later. That later becomes a lifestyle. Barakah does not wait for later. It comes when called upon in the moments Allah opened for it. The early hours are not just about productivity. They are about priority. Allah distributes rizq throughout the day, but the doors are opened early. Rizq is not just money. It is clarity, opportunity, protection, and contentment. Two people can earn the same amount and live very different lives. One feels constantly deprived, the other feels sufficiency. That difference is Barakah, and Barakah responds to obedience more than effort. When you choose early hours, you are swimming with the fitrah instead of against it. Your body recognizes it. Your soul recognizes it. Even your do sounds different when it rises from a heart that woke up intentionally. There is less desperation and more trust, less complaining and more surrender. The morning does not demand that you be perfect. It only asks that you be present. The problem is not that we do not know this. The problem is that we underestimate it. We think one more hour of sleep will fix exhaustion caused by weeks of imbalance. We think staying up late will give us control, when in reality it takes it away. We think we are managing time, but time is managing us. Barakah is Allah stepping into your schedule and making space where none should exist. Every morning after Fajr is a silent invitation. No announcement, no pressure, just an open door. Some walk through it and their lives quietly change. Some turn away and keep asking why nothing ever feels enough. And the difference between them is not intelligence, talent, or circumstance, but a choice repeated daily. A choice to honor the hours Allah honored, to trust that what He placed in the morning cannot be replaced at night. To believe that obedience is not a burden, but a bridge, and that Barakah flows most freely when the soul is awake before the world demands its attention, when the heart is aligned before the day scatters it, when the believer chooses light over lingering darkness, knowing that what begins correctly is more likely to end correctly, and that mornings shaped by Allah carry a strength that echoes long after the sun has fully risen. Sleeping after Fajr is not just a physical habit, it is a spiritual pattern that quietly reshapes the heart. The dullness does not arrive suddenly, and that is why it is dangerous. It creeps in gently, disguised as rest, masked as self-care, justified by tiredness. But over time, the heart begins to lose its sharpness, its alertness, its sensitivity to Allah. The soul was just awakened by prayer, just stood before its Creator, just tasted a moment of clarity, and then it is pushed back into unconsciousness. That interruption matters. The heart is most receptive right after remembrance, and when that moment is cut short, the connection weakens little by little. The hours after Fajr are a bridge between worship and life. When that bridge is crossed consciously, the heart carries light into the day. When it is slept through, the light fades before it has a chance to spread. This is why many people pray Fajr consistently, yet still feel spiritually stagnant. The prayer becomes an isolated action instead of a launch point. Sleeping immediately afterward closes the door that was just opened. The body rests, but the heart pays the price. Productivity is not just about doing more tasks. It is about clarity, intention, and flow. Sleeping after Fajr fragments the day. You wake up again disoriented, rushed, already behind. The mind struggles to focus because it missed the natural transition into daylight. Instead of starting the day grounded, you start it reacting. This constant reaction mode drains mental energy, leading to procrastination, poor decisions, and shallow effort. Hours pass, but very little feels accomplished. The heart thrives on rhythm. Islam is built on rhythms, prayer times, fasting cycles, daily remembrance. When you disrupt one rhythm consistently, the others begin to suffer. Sleeping after Fajr disrupts the soul's alignment with time. You were meant to witness the beginning of the day, not skip it. When the heart repeatedly misses that moment, it becomes less responsive. Dhikr feels heavier. Qur'an feels harder to focus on. Do feels more mechanical, not because Allah moved away, but because the heart trained itself to disengage when it should be most present. There is also a subtle message sent to the nafs when you choose sleep over wakefulness after Fajr. The message is that comfort comes first. That message does not stay limited to mornings. It spreads into worship, relationships, and responsibilities. The nafs learns that obedience is optional when it conflicts with ease. Over time, discipline weakens, and without discipline, productivity collapses. A heart that avoids small struggles will struggle greatly with big ones. Many people complain that they have no time, yet they sleep through the most spacious hours of the day. Early morning time is different. It stretches, it holds focus. 1 hour after Fajr can hold the weight of 3 later in the day. When that hour is lost to sleep, it is not replaced. You may stay up later to compensate, but the quality is gone. Fatigue replaces clarity. Distraction replaces depth. What could have been completed with calm now takes double the effort with half the result. Sleeping after Fajr also affects intention. When you wake early and stay awake, you choose your day. When you sleep again, the day chooses you. You wake up to demands, noise, messages, expectations. There is no space to ask, what does Allah want from me today? The heart becomes reactive instead of reflective. Productivity without intention becomes business, and business without barakah becomes burnout. The dullness of the heart often shows up as irritability. Small things feel heavy. Patience runs thin. Gratitude feels forced. These are not personality flaws. They are symptoms of spiritual fatigue. The heart did not get the nourishment it needed when it was most ready to receive it. Just as the body needs breakfast, the soul needs early nourishment. When it is skipped, the heart operates on empty. Sleeping after Fajr can also weaken resolve. You promise yourself you will wake up early tomorrow, be more focused, be more intentional. But the habit repeats, and each repetition chips away at self-trust. You stop believing your own intentions. That loss of internal trust affects productivity deeply. A person who does not trust themselves struggles to commit, to finish, to follow through. The heart becomes hesitant, unsure, easily discouraged. There is a reason why scholars warned against sleeping after Fajr, unless there is necessity. They were not speaking from theory. They observed the effects on themselves and others. They saw how knowledge retention weakened, how focus declined, how laziness crept in. Knowledge and productivity are closely tied to wakefulness of the heart. A sleepy heart may still function, but it does not excel. It survives, it does not thrive. The heart is polished by remembrance and dulled by heedlessness. The moments after Fajr are a polishing cloth. When they are consistently ignored, the rust builds up slowly. The person may still pray, still fast, still do good, but the sweetness is missing. Actions feel heavy, motivation feels forced, productivity becomes inconsistent. The heart is alive, but not alert. Sleeping after Fajr also affects physical energy in unexpected ways. Many assume that more sleep equals more energy, but oversleeping at the wrong time confuses the body. You wake up groggy, sluggish, needing caffeine to function. This dependence further disrupts natural energy cycles. Instead of feeling energized by the morning, you chase alertness all day. That chase drains productivity and clouds judgment. When the heart is dull, priorities blur. Important tasks are delayed. Meaningful goals feel overwhelming. Trivial distractions become appealing. This is not a lack of intelligence or ability. It is a lack of spiritual alertness. The heart that is awake early sees clearly. The heart that sleeps through its clarity spends the rest of the day searching for it. The Prophet sought refuge from laziness, not just physical laziness, but the kind that settles in the heart. Sleeping after Fajr feeds that laziness quietly. It normalizes delay. It teaches the soul to postpone effort. And postponement is the enemy of productivity. What could have been started early with ease becomes a burden later with resistance. Even emotionally, the difference is noticeable. Early wakefulness brings calm. Late waking brings anxiety. The heart senses that it missed something important, even if the mind cannot articulate it. That unease follows the person through the day, affecting focus and performance. Tasks feel heavier because the foundation of the day was shaky. The early morning trains the heart to lead. Sleeping after Fajr trains it to follow. Leaders of their own lives rise early, intentionally. Followers drift into their days. Productivity belongs to those who lead themselves before the world tries to lead them. The heart that wakes early learns self-command. The heart that sleeps learns self-neglect. This habit also weakens long-term consistency. One missed morning turns into many. One delayed task becomes a pattern of delay. Over time, goals are abandoned not because they were impossible, but because the heart lacked the sharpness to sustain effort. Productivity is not built on bursts of motivation, but on steady discipline, and discipline is forged in small daily choices. The tragedy is that sleeping after Fajr feels harmless. There is no immediate punishment, no obvious loss, but the cost is cumulative. Weeks turn into months. The heart becomes heavier. Focus becomes rarer. Productivity becomes something you chase instead of something you live. And all of it traces back to a moment when the soul was invited to stay awake, to remain present, to carry the light of prayer into action, and chose instead to turn back into sleep, not realizing that what was lost was not rest, but readiness, not comfort, but clarity, not time, but the sharpness of a heart that was meant to begin its day awake before the world awakened around it.